Greetings. My name is Rick Jordan. Today is May 15th, 2021. Welcome to Talk Thing number 9. I'm calling this one Being on God Alert. In case you're new to this YouTube channel and to these talks, let me introduce myself just briefly. I'm 62 years old. I used to be a pastor. I was one for years. I can't be a pastor in any conventional or traditional way anymore because of significant anxiety challenges, complicated and exacerbated by long-term effects from concussions I suffered a few years ago when a woman accidentally hit my car with her van. So this is my life now. My anxiety is socially very limiting, but God has given me this open door to minister in this way on YouTube through these talks and through the songs that I record and post. Thank you for being with me here. Below this video, you can click like if you do like what's happening here. Share, you can click share if you want to share this with somebody. You can click subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and I'm a long ways away. But once I reach 1,000 subscribers, YouTube will let me do things that I am not able to do on YouTube as of yet. And then below in the comment section, there is a link to my Patreon page where you can support me financially if you are led to do that. Those of you who are my Patreon supporters, you know who you are. Thank you so very much. And there are others of you who have reached out to me personally and have blessed me and Carla financially. You have no idea how helpful that is to me. So those are some ways that you can help me. All right, we're continuing a rather long series on anxiety. This one is called Being on God Alert. In other words, being open to sacred encounters. And toward the end of this talk, I'll try to connect the dots, helping all of us understand how being on God alert can help us with anxiety. We'll start with a couple of scriptures because that's what I do. Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 39 says this: you just need to know with every fiber of your being that the Eternal One and no one else is God, up in heaven and down here on earth. We can pair that with what Jesus says in the model prayer, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So at any given time, God is present in your down here on earth, wherever that is geographically, but also wherever that is emotionally, wherever you are. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, socially, financially, occupationally, whatever's going on, you just need to know with every fiber of your being that the Eternal One and no one else is God, way up there in heaven, but down here on earth in the middle of you. That's the first one. The second one is Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. Now, in our last talk called Peace, we covered Philippians 4, 6, and 7. This is Philippians 4, verse 8. And it goes like this. You'll notice that it's a command. The Apostle Paul says, keep your thoughts continually fixed on all that is authentic and real, honorable and admirable, beautiful and respectful, pure and holy, merciful and kind, and fixate your thoughts on every glorious work of God, praising God always. It's a mouthful, isn't it? It says kind of the same thing as Deuteronomy 4, verse 39. And did you notice we're actually invited to fixate? Another word for fixate is obsess. And if, like me, you struggle with anxiety, you know all about fixation, you know all about obsession. The way I look at it is, if I'm going to fixate anyway, if I'm going to obsess anyway, then I might as well upgrade. I might as well keep my thoughts continually fixed on all that is authentic and real, honorable and admirable, beautiful and respectful, pure and holy, merciful and kind. If I'm going to be obsessive anyway, I might as well fixate my thoughts on every glorious work of God, praising God always. Those are two passages that call us to be on God alert. Now, what does it look like to be on God alert? I have 7 examples. Being on God alert. First, nature. Kind of a no-brainer. As I talk to you, I'm also looking out the window of our second floor apartment. It overlooks a little strip of golf course and then a patch of woods. And I look out this window a lot. I've watched the trees get dressed this spring, and I have experienced God. I frequently experience God when I'm just looking out this window at the outside world, not to mention when I'm outside in the world. We're indoors way too much, aren't we? I hope you can get outside, but if not, there are other ways that you can experience nature, and God shows up in nature all the time. Secondly, people. God shows up in people. Everybody is made in the image of God. Now, granted, it's easier to pick up in some people than in others. Some of us are able to keep our issues enough beneath the surface of our lives that we don't always look like a hot mess. But there are other people who just, for one reason or another, they can't do that. The story, whatever story is driving their behavior or their appearance, it's such a dominant story that it lives on the surface of their lives. And they're doing their best. And I can experience God when I'm with people like that, if for no other reason than just realizing, wow, they're still around. They're still breathing on the planet, which is probably very, very significant. When I keep in mind that everybody whose path I cross bears God's image, that puts me on God alert. Third, human virtues. Like when somebody is kind to you, when somebody smiles at you, when somebody chooses to listen to you, when somebody is helpful to you. By faith, we can choose to encounter God in those moments. And life is littered with moments like that if we'll just kind of wake up to those moments. Fourth, gratitude. Huge for me. When I can just get to thank you, some kind of thank you, wow, that gratitude opens me to sacred encounters. Gratitude helps me be on high God alert. Fifth, small children. The book of Isaiah prophesies, saying, "And a little child shall lead them." Carla and I have a 3-year-old granddaughter. She loves to be barefoot, and whenever she's eating, we can see her curling her toes in pleasure because she likes what she's eating. Grandparents, you'll understand when I say Carla and I experience God when we see those toes, those 3-year-old toes curling, whenever we are with that adorable 3-year-old child. Small children, their honesty, their innocence, so much about them shows us what God is like. Sixth, I experience God when I am with parents who get it. Here's what I mean. Moms, dads who seem to realize that parenting is not about them, it's about the kid, it's about the child. When I observe that in action, my thought is, wow, that dad, that mom loves that child so much. But God loves that child even more. And from there, where I go is, wow, God loves me more than that mom, than that dad loves that kid. God loves all of us more. And that puts me on high God alert. And then seventh, better thoughts. My headspace can become clogged and even toxic in a hurry. And so when a better thought jumps in, by faith, I always choose to know that's God stepping in. That's God showing up. And so whenever I have a better thought than I can arrive at on my own, I know that that's God. Well, those are 7 ways to be on God alert. And hopefully you're already adding to that list or coming up with your own list. I want to talk about benefits of being on God alert, especially when we're struggling emotionally, like with anxiety or depression or loneliness or anger or anything else. Being on God alert is sacramental. That's a big word that simply means we experience the visible signs of God's presence in real time, everyday life. So being on God alert is sacramental. Second, being on God alert is transcendent. It lifts us up. And speaking for myself, I need to be lifted up all the time. It kind of gives us access to God so that God can lift us up. And then third, being on God alert decentralizes self. Everybody has a tendency to be a little self-absorbed or very self-absorbed. Being on God alert means that we're no longer self-absorbed, we are God-absorbed. And the more God-centered I am, the better I'm able to manage anxiety moment by moment. In the book of Genesis, the first book in the Hebrew Scriptures, what we call the Old Testament, there's a story about Jacob. Jacob and Esau were twins, but Esau was the firstborn. Jacob was deceptive. In fact, on at least 2 occasions that we read about in the Bible, Jacob deceived, tricked Esau out of the blessing of being the firstborn, the rights of the firstborn. And Esau's solution finally was, I'm just going to kill him. I'm going to murder my brother. And so Jacob finds himself on the run, like a fugitive from his own flesh and blood. First night out, he collapses in exhaustion in the middle of the wilderness. His pillow is a rock, and he dreams. Really, it's a vision. And there's this ladder or stairway in his dream, and he's dreaming about all of this angelic traffic going up and down this staircase or this ladder. He wakes up and he says, surely the Lord is in this place, and I didn't know it. And his next thought is, this place, this middle of the nowhere place, this is a sanctuary. I'm at the stairway to heaven. If I understand how chronology works, Jacob wasn't quoting Led Zeppelin there. He was simply saying, this is the stairway to heaven, and I'm at the bottom of this staircase. And so he uses his rock pillow to build an altar. Being on God alert means that at any given time, we kind of wake up and say to ourselves, okay, the Lord is in this place. I didn't know it, but now I do. I really hope what I've shared in this talk is beneficial to you, is advantageous to you, no matter what's going on in your life. You and I, we just need to know with every fiber of our being that the Eternal One and no one else is God up in heaven and down here on earth. Grace and peace to you. Thank you.